Hola Madridistas. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Real podcast. Jacob, I'm just making sure, like, for me on my screen, it's not live yet. So, are we sure we are live? We are
I think
live,
there's
right?
a 1 minute delay from
Okay. Fair. But it still hasn't started. Usually it starts running the ads, but yeah, might be just my phone. Yeah, people very straightforward routine victory, I don't think it'll be a pretty long post match for sure. Nothing super eventful, nothing super out of the norm, especially against Granada. Like, what's the record? Like on commentary, I heard them saying it was like we have won the last 14 fixtures against Granada. So it was always going to be a tall order for a team like Granada, who just came up, already fighting relegation. Um, Coming to the Bernabeu is never going to be easy, especially with our players really looking like they have found their stride finally this season. 5 games on the win, 5 games win 5 game wins on the trot. Like it's looking pretty great, at least for the time being. Um, we had our doubts this season, like how far would we fare, especially with consistency and how we capitalize on momentum. Other teams, having hiccups, dropping points, but so far so good, man. Girona last week, they dropped a few points. We leaped ahead. I watched them earlier, a bit of the second half against Valencia. Girona are looking pretty impressive, and it was imperative that we, made a statement by, reclaiming the top spot, and we did just that. We'll get into the nitty gritties, but before that, please welcome my esteemed co-panel, Javier and Mo. I'll come to you, Javier, first. Initial thoughts?
Probably the most boring game in the season. I mean, we all talk about the the Real Madrid team as a group. This December is like just cruising and trying to get not players injured, just win by the minimum effort. And today, Granada was only going for the Bernabeu just to not get destroyed. They didn't even they don't even try to draw the game, never attack. So it was an easy game for Madrid because they knew, like, okay, I'm gonna do the bare minimum, and the bare minimum was enough for 2 goals. Probably deserve a little extra, but Granada was, uh, a team that deserves to go to the second division, not only because they didn't try at all. Like, you can go to the Bernabeu and expect to lose. Every single team expect to lose at the Bernabeu. I mean, besides Barca or Atletico, but there's a different mentality expecting to get uh, expecting to lose and don't go to get destroyed. Like, it's a different mindset. And Granada today was awful. Like, I believe it's like 80% ball
Possession?
possession for Madrid, not a single attack. Lunin was probably, I don't remember if Lunin touches the ball at all. Easy night, like as simple as that.
Very well, man. Like I was hoping, like you just said, Granada would actually, bring something to the fight. Unfortunately, there was nothing. Mo, I'll come to you, man. Like, this was expected, right? Granada never really stood a chance from the get go. But initial impressions, initial thoughts.
I think when I was watching the games, the commentators is something that really resonated with me.
Hmm.
I don't think you should make any takeaways from this game because you have to see where Granada lies on the table, and you kind of it kind of says it all. Like
Mm.
Javier said, I think for Granada itself, it was like going to the Bernabeu against Real Madrid. Real Madrid are table toppers right now, so you don't really take away any like too much negativity from it. For Real Madrid, Granada's at the bottom, so you don't really take away too much positivity from it. I think Granada haven't won in the league since August,
Oh
So
my God.
that tells the tale itself. And for me, that's it. You just don't make any impression from it. Don't overhype some whatever positive there was. So
Mm.
it was just a game. It was kind of tactical because they had a new coach, so you didn't really know what to expect. Uh, uh, Granada before this have been like decently attacking wise, because I think outside the top six they have the most goals or something. But defensively they have been weak. But today it was all about defending, right? They almost had like 10 men behind it, maybe apart from Brian Zaragoza, who was like their only attacking outlet. So for Real Madrid, I think today was like not getting caught out. That was all for us. And thankfully we didn't.
I'll be honest, I haven't seen much of Granada, but I did watch the game against Barcelona, and they really, drove home their initiative, especially in the first half. How they carried themselves, how much guts and courage they actually put up on that particular day. But for tonight, like I knew, coming to visit us at the Bernabeu, they're going to be so much more conservative, and that's how it panned out. Like even at 1-0, I expected them to at least have a go for it, but they just couldn't muster much. I remember one set piece, one free kick in the first half. Had me going oof. That might have been a bit of a hairy moment for us because nobody read the flight of the ball, and yeah, it bounced out for a goal kick. So I think that was the biggest chance Granada could muster on the night. Um, like you said, we're not gonna change the narrative, in terms of where players stand. How much this affects their overall ratings this season so far and whatnot. But obviously, we can't just brush off the impact that Brahim has had on this Madrid side, um, especially with the number of injuries we have been going through. More, you were particularly damning about your thoughts about where Brahim stands in the pecking order and where he would absolutely get not much of a shout for even the driest of games, but this subtle injury crisis has given him a new lease of life, and I think, in my personal opinion, is that he has completely embraced that role and actually looks like someone his teammates look forward to. They believe in him, which I thought, like you initially predicted, would be something tough for Brahim to gel into, you know. But I think it's flowing pretty fluidly for him at this moment.
Yeah, to that I would say I made the comment that we know what his place is in the pecking order. I
Hmm.
think the injury crisis only kind of reinforces that because he gets the chance after everybody is almost injured.
Mm.
Vinicius is out. Like we have lost a lot of people in the midfield, and then is when Brahim gets a chance. My thing about Brahim has always been that we know that he has quality, but we are worried about his consistency. And the second thing was like will he get enough game time? If he doesn't get enough game time, it's difficult to adjust with his teammates. But right now, due to the injury crisis, I think he's getting a run of games. There was a Brahim quote that came out like in the post match, and he said that finally I'm getting consistency, I'm getting minutes. So that's the difference, right? Once you're getting consistency and minutes, it's easier to perform. But with Brahim, the question has always been: is does he have the consistency? Does he have the ability to repeat his performance over and over? I think more than me, you have watched Milan, right? And we have already seen this with Brahim. He has good performances, he has the quality, but when it comes to delivering them over and over again, that's when he struggles. So I think that's the biggest question mark right now, because right now our players are not going to come back anytime soon. Ceballos is just coming back. Maybe Modric we get back next game, but the others like Chouameni, Camavinga, Vinicius, they're a fair few months off. So Brahim will get a run right now because of how things are. So we'll see how it rolls out for him.
Fair enough. Ancelotti was also saying that he's playing pretty well. He does his job in every position I put him. I'm satisfied with him. He is showing his qualities. Um, to which I completely agree, and also I agree to what you said. Like I've seen a lot of Brahim in Milan, but I'll tell you something more. Yeah, that Brahim in Milan was a key cog in Pioli's system that eventually won him the Scudetto. But um, Brahim's shortcomings were more due to probably him not having adequate competition. There was competition. Sometimes Benasser played in the 10, I remember. But it wasn't competition that he could really rely on to give him motivation to push even harder. Give him a drive, an extra, urge to, prove his critics wrong. But here, I think since the competition is kind of cut out, and we don't exactly uh, play with another 10 apart from Jude when everyone is fit, gives him that extra leeway probably to make a difference from the bench, I believe. At least for me, and I know a few people who think the same way, that he has leaped above Hoselu in the pecking order. Simple as,
I
Hoselu.
don't really think that I don't agree with that statement that he has left above Hostelu, because Hostelu has his
Mhm,
own place. For me, the thing is, like you said, motivation. That's something like I don't really share your opinion
mhm.
on, because he's a professional player. He always has motivation to play. The thing is, like, it's at Milan, from what I have watched, the issues for him is replicating his performances. I like, even from the first day when he came back to Real Madrid, I said that this guy has quality, because we were always hearing these things about him being excellent in training and whatnot. But the question mark has always been about his ability to replicate these performances over and over. Even at the start of the season, Ancelotti, there's a reason why he wasn't playing him. There's a reason why when Vinicius and Rodrigo are there, Brahim is not going to be the first player you bring off the bench. It's always been Joselu. So for me, the thing is, like, Ibrahim is a good player, but does he offer anything different to what the players we already have on the pitch when he's playing as substitute? And is it when he's a starter? Does he have the ability to replicate his performance over and over? He, as a starter, he's done well. He's shown a lot of commitment. I think you are justified in saying that he has a lot of motivation to force himself into the team right now. But when Vinicius comes back, is Ibrahim going to get the same run of games that he's getting right now? When Kamavinga gets back, when Chouameni gets back, will a place for Brahim exist? So I think that remains to be seen, and then we'll get to see what Brahim brings to the table.
I think I've mentioned this on another post match or a preview. I don't remember what exactly, but no, I share your sentiment that his overall outlook of where he stands in the team is going to look much bleaker when our big guns are back. But Javier, I'll come to you. Yeah, like my personal opinion is that yes, Hoselu, like Mo said, like we all know that he is a specialist striker, and we need someone as a reference point, especially deep in games where we might be looking for an extra goal or two to to see the game off. But I believe what is going to define Brahim's season, especially after this new lease of life that he has gotten, is how he would perform off the bench, right? Javier, do you have any faith that he can be, a guy who can have a big say even off the bench, even when he's given less minutes, um, to to help us out transition from this season to the next?
Yeah, yeah. I think Brahim has the potential to be, like um, a rotational player, starting games, but not this season. Like
Mm,
the whole idea of bringing Brahim back was um, getting him a chance to be at Real Madrid. Like we don't need a one season wonder anymore. We don't have those. No one in the squad it's here just for one season. Probably the only one is like Joselo for his age, and Kepa because of the injury of Courtois. So they Brahim, more than probably anyone in the squad, is the player that Madrid has a plan for him ever since he was at Man City, then here, then on loan again. It's a project. He's still 24, is not that young, but he had the potential to have a, like 5 season, 6 season career at Madrid. At some point, he could start, like it's probably in the same, like chances of getting in the first team, like someone like Isco or someone like like crucial in parts of seasons, even starting games. Like if you guys remember, Isco starting two consecutive Champions League finals ahead of some big names like Gareth Bale, even. So in that regard, I see Ibrahim as a potential player for the long run, and you have to have those in your squad. A player that can bring something special to the table. I agree with you. I think Brahim is ahead of Roselu at this moment, but I think what Mo says, like whenever we need a bigger change, in the game, it's easier to fix uh, a close game with Joselu than Brahim. So if you
100%.
if you want to start the game, I think Brahim is ahead of Joselu. But if you want to change that current game, it's
Hmm.
easier to fix with a number 9 like Joselu than a number 10 like Brahim.
Very good point. That's my greatest desire that I have of Brahim. Like when he comes on, he should have. I know it's quite unrealistic to have the Rodrigo super sub expectation from Brahim, but that's the only way I believe that Brahim is going to cement his place as the 12th man or the 13th man in the squad. Like he definitely has the vote of confidence from his teammates. I can clearly see it. The body language, how he carries himself, how his teammates look out for him. Like I mentioned earlier, is a testament to that. And the first goal, how it came about is again, some sublime combination, between Cruz and Brahim. How Brahim like lays it out to Cruz, probably a bit unintentionally, because who was it behind? I mean, between Cruz and Brahim, I forget. Was it Fede? Wasn't Fede? I think was it Jude Mo? Not sure, but the sequence of play was pretty scintillating to watch. Mo.
Yeah, I think I don't think it was unintentional. I think Cruz was the pass to Brahim was pretty intentional because when Brahim played that ball to Cruz, I think he kind of signaled it and he made that run. I think Cruz, the ability of Cruz to play that one touch, pass into the box that is evading all defenders somehow reaches Brahim is like something you can only admire, and that's something that not many players have the ability to the ability to pull off. So Brahim's run was incredible. Brahim has this quality. I think this quality of Brahim, I like it very much. His dynamism. I think we have had discussions about this previously as well. I think we were talking about what we want to see in the number 10, and I was talking about this. This movement, this ability to occupy half spaces to play. Make these runs and everything. So Brahim has that in loads. So today, what he did was like incredible, especially given his physicality, because I think we have always had doubts about Brahim's physicality, but today he had this ability to fight off other players and get into spaces, win balls, and create chances for his teammates. So I think Brahim was incredible. That pass from Cruz was like majestic. So overall, I think that was a wonderful goal to watch.
100%. Like I agree that people have their reservations about how physically imposing that Brahim would have. But I've always felt like he's a pocket dynamite. That he has a bite to him, despite his 5'6", 5'7" stature. Like he has an extra something to him. Despite that. But Javier, the goal, Tony Cruz again, maestro, putting it on a plate. But that connection was so easy. It was almost telepathic. It was a simple play, but the execution was on point.
Yeah, that play is the hardest to defend.
Mm,
And when
mm,
you have someone like Tony Kroos, is the assist it's beautiful. You know,
mm,
it's marvelous, but the definition as well. Controlling the ball and getting it's not an easy goal.
mm,
It was the highlight for the game. By no comparison, was
mm.
the most interesting part of the game. And yeah, I saw that Tony Kroos has already um, the same number of assists that last season, and at the start of December. So he's still like 5 months of football to replicate it. And and I think it's the best way that we can put Tony Cross's season. He's been wonderful for, I don't know, almost 10 years,
in the last
but now
Euro.
he doesn't slow
A4
down.
is the
He's picking
position
up
of
his pace
Switzerland.
in
There is
terms
some
of
noise here that
uh, uh, what can
100
he's bringing to the
in the
table. We
last
last year we all saw that
Euro.
Tony Kroos as a number five is terrible,
A4 is the position of
and now
Switzerland. There is
we're
some
kind of
noise
like,
here that
okay, we're getting used to him to
100
be in that role. Yeah, cover him with Fede is the best idea, you know. But I we talk about youth season like out of this world, like Ballon d'Or season. But I think Tony Cross is probably the second in the squad in terms of level at this moment. I think it's like obviously Jude, then Tony, and probably now we are recently watching Danny Carvajal and Rodrigo as well.
Fair. That's a fair assessment. But yeah, Tony Cruz has been sublime this season. Like I really, always had this opinion of Tony Cruz that he's gonna eventually start slowing down. But yeah, he keeps proving, pretty much everyone wrong that he has no gas left in his tank. But before we get on to Cruz, I would like to touch upon the Brahim finish as well, which was, like you said, not an easy finish. The technique, the control he had, to actually not give it so much of an elevation, which completely increases the likelihood that it's going over the bar. I thought it was superb to watch. I'm not gonna lie. If Cruz's pass was a 10 on 10, Brahim's finish was a 9, an easy 9 or an 8. Simple as.
I mean, you
Honestly,
were
like,
drunk, and I don't get why you're taking points off the finish.
the pass was better. Let's be honest. The Tony Cruz assist was better, but finish was
I mean,
was
the weight on the
extremely good.
finish was incredible. Like you said,
100%.
he didn't push too much force on it, so it was a pretty delicate chip. So I
Mm.
think he deserves a 10 from me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm coerced at this moment, so I'll probably tip towards the 10 as well. But more, talk to us about Tony Cruz, man. Javier had his say. Tony Cruz, we always had this,
No legs.
this conversation regarding the no legs theory that I pulled up a couple of years ago. But when you see when the legs are compensated for, he just turns on the game, man. Like some people would say, his switch to Carvajal basically defines our games more often than not.
Yeah, I think the thing about the no legs thing, I think a lot of us sometimes we get colored by watching players of physicality, but the modern game is all about physicality, right? And Tony Cruz sort of bucks that trend. So Tony Cruz's game has never been about pace. His game has never been about being physically dominant. What his game has always been is about the delicacy, the artistry of the game. So I think right now what has helped Tony Cruz is the fact that we have incredibly physical players to surround him with. When you say that Tony Cruz, like he kind of like he doesn't have the same abilities that he used to have before, which I think you were alluding with, he has no legs thing. I think
My
to a point,
God.
it is right to a point, because he doesn't have the same physicality that he used to before. But with the emergence of Kamavinga, with the emergence of Chouameni, we are being able to hide that. Uh, Today, right now, we didn't really have those players, but the fact is, Granada was barely attacking us, so it wasn't a question. And I think we have to highlight how good Valverde was. Although he's not playing offensively, I think defensively he was having two midfielders. He was covering for Cruz, and when need be, he was covering for Carvajal. In the
Vasquez as well.
Yeah, in the defensive phases, I think Fede was brilliant, and that allowed Cruz to get forward and be Cruz, be himself. I think his ability to play those progressive passes, those line breaking passes to control the pace of the game. I mean, I don't. You don't have to take my word for it. You can take the word of Casemiro and everything. I think Casemiro in Cruz's documentary said, "We play to the rhythm that Cruz dictates." So whatever rhythm that Cruz is going to set, Real Madrid is going to play to that. And I think, like you said, there are several classic, Cruz passes, the switch to Carvajal, the switch to whoever's at the left wing, and everything. So Real Madrid, without Cruz is totally different team. I think his absence is felt more when Cruz is not on the pitch. Without Cruz,
100%.
we lack this control of the game. And I think is to an extent it is also true about Modric. When there are certain games where you need control, you need Modric. So I think Modric is like sadly towards the end of his career at Real Madrid. I think because he's losing game time. So I don't know if he wants to stay, because I would love for him to stay, but we don't really know what he wants to do and what he decides to do. And we don't know the same thing with Cruz, because Cruz always said that he's going to evaluate on every year. But if it was for me, if Tony Cruz is listening, I would tell him to sign the paper, sign the contract right now, and stay for at least 1 or 2 more years. Because
I'm pretty sure, man. Like by this point, he has made up his mind to stay one more year because he knows he's in.
yeah, if he hasn't, then Cruz, you should sign. And if he's watching this video, definitely, I think Cruz 2025 is something that we all want to hear soon.
100%. I mean, Cruz personally, like from what I've kind of tried to derive from the statements that he has put out is the fact that he just knows what his body is going to be like. So I just feel like in this kind of form, he just thinks maybe he has one more year left in him. But
I think with Cruz, the issue has always been what kind of role he can expect. Like he knows what. Like every season we've started, I think we've been a bit iffy about Cruz's role, because even when we started this year, we were playing with a midfield of Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Valverde, and Jude. I think Cruz wasn't the first choice, so
Yeah.
he's forced his way in and shown what we were missing. So I think Cruz is probably going to evaluate at the end of the season, or whenever he does his evaluation thing, that what kind of a role he can expect next season, and then probably decide.
my question is, Javier, like when we discuss Cruz, yeah, like who else can set the tempo? I remember, I was pretty young back then, but watching Xabi Alonso was pretty similar. Like he used to basically dictate, how fast we attacked, or how much time we spent building up possession. But who else can we get to really replace Cruz? I know it's a tall order. Like there's no perfect replacement, but guys like Thiago Alcantara, like are they good enough? Like can we finally call what Cruz does absolutely a specialist role, where he is recycling possession, finding new passing lanes, giving people space to thrive in.
The the easy choice would be Jude,
Wow. Okay.
especially next season when we expect to have another striker.
Hmm.
The only
Hmm.
reason that is Jude playing this ahead in his position is because we don't have a number 9. You know, so he now occupies space that is new to him. I mean, he's great. He's Ballon d'Or quality, but that's not the reason Real Madrid bring him. He's a midfielder through and through, and box to box midfielder. So for me, it's the easiest choice to occupy the tempo, but in different, like you said, Xavi Alonso determines the tempo. It was a little bit of a more defensive midfielder than Tony,
Hmm.
and Jude is an all-around midfielder. So basically, what I'm saying is like if you want someone to determine the tempo, the best choice to have is like an all-around midfielder. You have your Fede that is um, perfect in almost every single regard, as well as a choice. Um, but for me, it's
But some people would argue that we are taking away from their best qualities, which is driving with the ball, breaking into the final third and whatnot.
yeah. But the best qualities of Fede and Jude and every single player that plays for us is put himself in the benefit of the team. You know,
100%. I agree with
last
that.
season we saw that Fede scored like I don't know 7, 8 goals prior to the
Hmm.
World Cup. Now I think he has like 0, 1. I don't remember, but we all praise Fede what's bringing to the table. You know, like Mo
Mm.
said, today was a defensive impressive Fede. Tomorrow could be, you know, uh, and run in the 90th minute to score against Betis. Who knows? Fede puts himself in the benefit of the team, and the results are there. The team as a squad is solid because not everyone tries to score goals. They knew that playing together is it's more important than showing themselves. So I'm not worried about who's gonna uh, be the next Tony Cross,
Mhm.
because once again, the next Tony Cross I think is already here, and I expect Tony Cross to be at least like. Do you almost with this past I don't know 5, 6 seasons when we have like Casemiro and Tony and Luca, we always put Luca and Tony in the same box. You know, like oh they're gonna wash out at the same time, and it's like I think he's 5 years younger. You know, 5 years. So if we can expect Tony to be at least 3 or 4 of those years, you know, like he could potentially be this because, like Mo said, his game is only in his mind, you know. This doesn't need to run anymore, not at all. And when Kamavinga and Chouameni are here, recover from the injury, it's even less he's gonna need to run, and he don't need to play every single game or every single minute of each game. So um, if Tony Cross wants to stay, he could stay a little, at least 2 to 3 seasons. So the fact that he's so special for this team is like it's almost like a free card, you know. Like Tony Cross is like do what you want, and the rest is gonna cover the spaces from you. So
Yeah, 100%.
closing my answer
100%.
is yeah, Jude is gonna be the next metronome in this team
I
for
want to
sure.
move away from Cruz, but like you made your statement. I would like to ask Mo as well because I'm pretty sure he's gonna have a disagreement with that. But Mo, what do you think, man? Like post Tony Cruz, what does it look like?
See, the thing is, like, I've learned my lesson from you. You don't really argue against Jude, so I'm not going to argue against Jude. And the fact is, like, Javier has watched him Jude at Dortmund, so he's a lot more familiar than me with Jude's qualities. Because I'll be honest, I don't really watch Dortmund,
Mm,
so I have to give in to him to an extent. But for me, I think we had this discussion earlier as well, like before. It was towards the end of last season where we are talking about how Real Madrid is going to look going forward, and I said that when it comes to deeper areas, I've always liked how Kamavinga, brings the ball out, and I
mm,
think his passing range from deeper areas is also pretty astonishing. So for me, I think they've always talked about this. I think Real Madrid, we are kind of deviating away from the 4-3-3, so it's going to continue. I think with Jude, the thing is like. I don't really think Jude is gonna be transitioned to be playing into a deeper role. I think the way Jude is playing right now, and no manager in the world is gonna change his position. I think with Ancelotti, you really have to give it to him because he figured out his qualities, and he's given him a role that has brought the best out of him. So for me, going forward, I think Jude is gonna play in more advanced areas compared to the likes of Camavinga in Germany. I think you brought out an interesting comparison for Tony Cruz that was Xabi Alonso. And I think it goes back to the 11-12 team, right? Xabi Alonso was controlling the pace in the deeper areas, but the one controlling the pace in the forward areas was Mesut Ozil. Even Xabi Alonso said it himself, when the ball was deeper, I was the one controlling, but when we got the chance, we got the ball to Ozil and let him do his thing. So I think going forward, that's what's going to happen. In the deeper areas, it's probably going to Kamavinga, who's always been more comfortable in the ball, I think, than Chouameni, because Chouameni always said that he likes driving forward. But Kamavinga is somebody who has a wide passing range. So in the deep areas, I think Kamavinga is going to be it. But when the ball gets to more advanced areas, like Javier said, you cannot really look past Jude because I think he has a brilliant passing rate. He has a brilliant mind about finding players in the box. He has that ability to unlock defenses. So it's probably going to be him. But I think the only area that I would like to see more from Jude is combinations with others. The likes of Vinicius and Rodrigo. That's the only thing that I want to see him improving. But overall, I can't disagree that Jude probably is gonna be is gonna be pretty helpful in controlling the tempo of the game, at least in the forward areas.
Well, let's get into a few more comments before we move further. Big up Jacob in the background as well. Moss is in the chat. Moss was saying Rodrigo 7 goals in 5 games. What a turnaround from start of the season. 100%, man. Rodrigo, for me, for once, I thought like how would I slate this guy, because he was my numero uno. Jude Bellingham is the shiny new toy. You get distracted, to a certain extent. Your eyes flounder and whatnot, but Rodrigo was always my OG day one. He was the guy that basically gave me so much happiness after Decimo Tercera. So man, I'm never gonna turn my back on him, and I completely believe that he was gonna show up at one point in this season, and I didn't expect, to be honest, to be this quick. I never expected it to be so soon, and the timing is as well as what makes it even more impressive. Where we needed someone like him to step up in the absence of Vinicius, in the absence of guys like Chouameni, where we were lacking some sort of a balance in midfield. Like he just took up that mantle to drive the team forward, and yeah, couldn't be more thankful, man. Moss was also mentioning every time Brahim has played 60 plus minutes, he's averaging a 7.5 performance. But that's an interesting way to look at things as
If I
well.
may just talk about Rodrigo, I just like to say the fact that this stretch of games, 7 goals in 5 games is like his best stretch at Real Madrid, which follows kind of his like worst stretch at Real Madrid, where he went goalless for a lot of games. And
Yeah.
I think in the last 5 games, he also had like 11 goal contributions, 7 goals and 4 assists. So I think this guy's been incredible, and I think it goes back to what we were saying when he was off form. A lot of people were kind of like piling on Rodrigo. This guy doesn't have future Real and everything. And we said the same thing. We said, just be patient with him. He's gonna show up, and I think he has.
100%. Since we are on Rodrigo, let me read this comment and look at the second goal as well. T Nova was in the chat. He was mentioning, I think Rodrigo heard me calling him the Brazilian Rashford. Yeah, I remember that. T Nova. It was a bit much. Yeah, I leave it at that. And now wants to prove me wrong. Yeah, T Nova. That was a harsh statement.
I think there was one when we were doing the Napoli preview as well.
I think it was T Nova itself, or was it someone else?
I don't remember the name. I'm sorry. I'm really.
I think it was T Nova, because I remember that comment about him being the Brazilian Rashford.
And I said the same thing. Incredibly disrespectful to Rodrigo to be compared.
Yeah, Rashford had one very good season.
Anything in football, Rodrigo has been like defined Champions League games. So when you reach that level, he certainly deserved better than to be compared to somebody who's like not done it on the grandest stage. Incredibly talented player Rashford as well. You don't really want to be disrespectful.
Yeah, 100%. But there's levels to this game. Simple as Javier, Rodrigo. Where should we start? I'll start with how the goal kind of unfolded. Was it Fede playing it off to Brahim finding Jude with a nice neat cross box pass, but Jude could have done a bit better with the finish. I reckon last month's Jude would completely put that away. He thought probably shooting it a bit more centrally would aid his cause, but the goalkeeper.
Before Javier says anything, I just want to chime in because we talked about Jude. I think something that we have to keep in mind is the fact that he's playing with a shoulder injury and an ankle injury. So probably a goal a little bit easier. I was reading this article in the Athletic over the weekend. I think in the game against Cadiz, they were like incredibly targeting his shoulder because he had that shoulder dislocations. Right now, he's at a high risk of another shoulder dislocation. So I think a lot of people are targeting his ankles and shoulder. And in today's game, you could see the fact that a lot of Granada players also going after his ankle because he kind of rolled it against Napoli. So So there was this one moment where I think he kind of like stretched out to win a ball, and then Gumbao kind of like kicks him in the ankle, and then goes down, and the referee, because he has such a good eye doctor, decided that the Gumbao was the one who was fouled. So I think for Jude it's just a little bit of tiredness and the fact that he's carrying these injuries.
Right. Yeah, 100%. I would give him some leeway, but just in the game, in isolation, I look at it in isolation. Like, how much I love the guy, right? Like, I completely understand that, we have been forced to play him and he has to, kind of, we all know the drill. Take painkillers and endure it all. Like, that's what we do. Even last season, Fede, how he was playing through a foot injury, it just is a bit bonkers. But yeah, in the context of the game, like, I felt like probably that chance could have been better dealt with. But I completely get your sentiment. I agree with it as well. But Javier would like to go in five minutes. He has something to get to immediately. But Javier, quick thoughts on the second goal as well, man. Rodrigo tight angle, superb finish.
I mean, when you get it, you get it. Like Rodrigo is at probably his best, like all around performance in the past month. I
Yeah.
mean, he's like, I don't know. I was 17 out of the last 20 goals involved. Something
Hmm.
about Rodrigo, like he's at his peak. And once again, we know that Rodrigo's favorite position is in the left flank, but he scored again on the right side. So I'm not worried about, because all the commentators, at least in the Spanish media, was like, "Oh, where is gonna be Rodrigo once again move to the right when Bean is here?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah, but we can interchange them, and we can, Rodrigo is an attacking, all around an attacking, like we talk about, like Jude is an all around midfielder. Rodrigo is an all around attacker. So when you have the confidence, the goals, we all knew that when Rodrigo recovers his confidence, the goals is gonna drop and drop and drop and drop. So now, I think what Rodrigo needs is keep focusing and getting better. And I don't I don't think Rodrigo has reached his full potential yet, you know, and that's impressive because we all knew that he's special. And and now all the world is like, okay, so Madrid is fighting, like, even without Bini, even without
Yeah.
Jude, like Mo said, like a very injured Jude or semi-injured Jude. Okay, no worry. Like today, Jude has a potential to be a goal scorer again. Like the play that Brahim does in the first half. Like that touch was beautiful, almost like even better than the assist that Tony Kroos did. But
You mean the back heel
yeah,
to
yeah,
Jude?
yeah, was perfect. But Rodrigo today was almost absent for the game, and even that he scored. Like
Mm.
when a striker is at in a good like I don't know the word, but like in a good momentum, he's gonna score. When you have it, you have it.
100%. Javier, if you can, stay. If you want to, you can stay for the wrapping up as well, because we are going to be wrapping it up pretty soon as well. Because the game, I'm running out of stuff to discuss. But you already touched upon the Brahim back heel as well. I would like to shout that out as well. Pretty impressive stuff from Brahim. I was blown away. He probably deserved a goal, but Jude, usual angle, where he finished against, was it Napoli or was it the game before? I'm not sure, but was it Napoli? Napoli was the header. Was the game before, but I totally expected Jude to kind of find the top bottom right corner, but he missed it by a fraction. But um, unlucky on that. But yeah, so many good performances, but the game was super uninteresting, man. Like, um, I would like to pick up Mendy as well. Completely has kind of solidified his position at left back. More if you want to chip in for something regarding Mendy, he was slated for no reason. During games where he was just coming back from an injury. Sometimes his overall ball distribution, his his tidiness with the ball was questioned. Like his even his defensive aspect. Last post match, Jacob was mentioning it that Mendy is no longer that defensively sound anymore. But he didn't have to do any of that today. But I was super impressed with his overall link up play. Especially down the left.
I think Real Madrid's game plan today was predicated on the fact that Mendy
Mm,
and Valverde were going to cover for a lot of our attacking impetus.
mm,
Uh, I think Mendy provides a defensive solidity to the back line that nobody else can bring.
mm,
In the left back options, but Kamavinga is Kamavinga. Obviously, he's brilliant, but you want to see Kamavinga more in the midfield, but on that at the left back. But when Kamavinga plays there, he's pretty brilliant as well. So at the start of the podcast, I said that we don't really want to go too much like overhype something. So, but for Mendy, I think this has been consistent. He's been, uptick. There's been an uptick in his performances with the games
this
played.
season, especially.
Yeah, so and this is the thing we talked about Brahim as well. With consistency with minutes, with consistency in minutes, your performances improve, your chemistry with your teammates improve, your understanding with your teammates improve, and your understanding of the system improves. So you know a way to position yourself, you know how to interact with players around you. So I think for Mendy, it's just been a period of getting used to everybody, but the bigger challenges are yet to come. And when the bigger games come, the question is inevitably going to be: do you go with Mendy or do you go with Kamavinga to accommodate more midfielders? Because we don't really know how to fit Kamavinga, Chouameni, Valverde, Jude, and Cruz into the same lineup, and all five of them are fit. So that is going to be a question inevitably. But for now, I think Mendy is delivering great performances. And there was a funny thing I read in the Spanish media as well. I think that next there could be a situation at the end of the season if Mendy keeps on delivering, where Real Madrid are forced to offer him a contract extension because of his performances. Because as it stands, Ancelotti has always been a big fan of Ferland Mendy, and the thing is, like, even if we bring in Alfonso Davies, Mendy could still be offered an extension to stay on, and
I'll
the,
be
the victim could be
so
Valverde.
happy.
So we'll see how it goes. Right now, as things stand, probably Mendy's career at Real Madrid is is coming to an end. But for me, ever since he's come to Real Madrid, ever since Zidane brought him, I've always been a fan of him, and I think you shared the same sentiment as me, because we have loved his defensive performances. So we'll see how Mendy performs, but in the upcoming games, in the bigger games. For right now, I think I'm incredibly satisfied with the game today.
Someone who's extremely, dual-footed as well. I fucking forgot the word for ambidextrous. What's the word? Ambipedal. What was the
Ambidextrous.
anyway? Right. Anyway, he is so good on both of his feet, which really amplifies his versatility as well. He can play center back. He has played right back for France, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So someone like that, like with his experience and his composure, especially going back, I would really love for him to be a part of our plans for the near future. But let's see how the season pans out. We're going to slowly wrap this up. Big up everyone in the chat. I would like to read out a few comments before we go. Prince Arthur was in the chat. Big up Prince Arthur. He was saying Kroos is the engine of the team. Go on, Javier.
I'm sorry, I just have a little bit of problem here. I didn't catch you. What?
No. If you want to go, you can go. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
We're wrapping it up as well quickly.
I have to go, but it was a pleasure, guys.
In a bit, bro. A la Madrid. Prince Arthur was in the chat. He was mentioning Cruz is the engine of the team. Pairing him with any youngster that can run makes him play better. 100%. Prince Arthur also was mentioning Cruz staying another year is desired and needed. He's irreplaceable. The German national team probably needs him. 100%. Whenever Germany.
I love the fact that he's not in the German national team anymore, because
Mm.
I think that helps Cruz be the best version of himself for Real Madrid. I think this was the same thing with Benzema. When he was not in the French national team, we didn't really see his recurring injuries, affect him that much. Once he started going to the French national team, that's when the whole injury thing started. Because I think the more games you play, the higher risk you are at of injury. So for Cruz, I think he made a decision that was like good for him in the long run, because he decided, he's not gonna be he doesn't love playing in pain, and he doesn't really want to be away from his family, whatever personal reasons. I don't want to speculate. So, but for Real Madrid, his international retirement has been like a good thing.
We know how Germans are. They don't overexert themselves, but yeah, it has really worked in our favor. Matt Cruz being away from the national team. Jacob was here. He was mentioning, in my opinion, we need to play a different style of football when Cruz leaves. A decent pressing incoming. Well, with decent press, it comes with Klopp. Not a
I
fan.
think about Real Madrid is like Real Madrid will always play the system that bring the best out of all players. So I think
Yeah,
a manager like Ancelotti is gonna figure out how things are. There's been rumors about Ancelotti being potentially offered a renewal at Real Madrid. I think Farouk wanted to commit, Sepeku after hearing that, but I hope Ancelotti stays, because for me there was a question about Ancelotti, right? Like, what does Ancelotti have to do for him to earn a renewal for you? And for me, the thing is, like, he's already done what he needs to do to earn a renewal. Is the fact that he has integrated Jude Bellingham, which I think is the biggest bet that Florentino Perez has made in recent years. After Vinicius and Rodrigo, I think Jude Bellingham is the biggest bet that he has made. So, and the ability of Ancelotti to get the best out of him is something that I think really elevates him in the eyes of the board. For me as well, I think Ancelotti has been like incredible, in managing.
100%, 100, bro. Like, who thought? Yeah, like losing Benzema, right, and losing some of our key players, due to whether it be injuries, whatnot. Like, they have been, like going down like flies for the last couple of months. But the way Carlo and his coaching staff has handled this period is pretty remarkable. Not
And I
gonna
think
lie.
at the start of the season, we had incredible doubts about how we were
Mm,
going to do without a striker.
mm,
And I think Ancelotti has somehow figured that out. And when a manager does that, you really have to give kudos to him. It's like, I think we made this comparison earlier as well with coaches like Eric Ten Hag, who's been struggling to get the best out of his players when he has players for positions, right? And right now, he's lacking a striker. He doesn't really have a good right back in backup, but he still figures out how to make everything tick. So I think when you have a manager like that, and when you have a club like Real Madrid, where it doesn't really give the leeway for a manager to come and say, "Oh yeah, give me some time. I'm going to instill my philosophy and whatever that is." A manager like Ancelotti, who you just give him the pieces and he decides, he figures out how to put them together and get the best out of the team. It's just incredible. And I think at the start of the season, we were all like, I don't know about you, but I know about me. I was pessimistic towards the outlook of the season. But the
Me
way
too, bro.
the
We,
way
we
this
we
team
we
was
were on the
playing,
same panel,
yeah.
lamenting about where our hopes are.
Yeah, but, I just don't want to put words in your mouth. That's why. So the thing is,
Mm,
like, I think the way the midfield has played, especially, this ability to win balls higher up, this ability to dominate games, and choke out the opposition. So we didn't really see that. Like, we didn't really expect that, but we are seeing it, and so I think I'm incredibly satisfied with how this team is playing. And I think in the summer we'll probably get a striker. I don't really know what happens. Who that person will be, we don't really know. But I think we'll get somebody, and I think the way for Real Madrid is only up right now.
100%, 100%. Um, a slight point that I missed out on Jude. Yeah, like he has been going through a bit. Going through a lot for real, especially with his nagging injuries and the ref didn't help tonight. Specifically, how he really wanted to send the guy off, and the way he carried himself all throughout the 90. He was booked pretty early on, and he could have really tipped the wrong way and could have earned a quick easy reputation of, oh yeah, like he just showed the first instance of a weakness where if he's rattled enough, like he might lose his way. But big up Jude, man. I was super impressed.
Yeah,
Like,
I think definitely. I think
mm,
the point you're making is well made. There was
mm,
this. I think we also discussed in the chat. There was this one tackle where Jude, and I referenced it in the podcast earlier as well. There's this
mm,
one tackle near the Granada box where Jude like kind of stretches himself to get the ball, and Kumba like kind of kicks his feet, but the foul is called in Jude. I think in moments like these, when calls like that are made against you, it's really easy to lose your head. I think in the first half, Jude was a little bit, let's say he was losing his head a little bit.
Was a bit agitated. Yeah.
Yeah. He kind of like told the Granada defenders, to get away in not so nice terms. So I think, but whatever happened in the dressing room, I think it's probably a strength of Ancelotti as well that we have to highlight, because whenever Vinicius gets onto these things, Ancelotti is also always the one who's trying to calm him down. Though it doesn't work always, because Vinicius, you don't really know what's going to happen. But with Jude, I think Jude did well, to temper it down and hold his head when things could have gone in the other way.
100%. Ricardo was in the chat. He was saying, one of the most relaxing games of the season. Onward and forward. Next up, Esco Disco. Yeah, big fixture with the Benito Villamarin next week. Real Betis. I'm not sure where they are in the table, but I've been, quietly impressed with their performances. Are they top 5? They're the top 6, right? For sure.
Let me just quickly check. Right now they are 7th, but they have a game in hand.
Betis has been
if
good.
They win their game in hand, I think. I don't know. It's close between Athletic, La Real, and Betis.
Villarreal are back, yeah? They're climbing up. Okay.
No, La Real.
La Real. Oh, Sociedad. My bad. Right. Yeah, the table, when you're atop the table, I don't look, below me, unfortunately. Sky is the limit. Sky is the limit for us. Nobody expected us to, start the way we have started. And like we already have, discussed, Carlo and his team really needs some big enough, but it's all a matter of, this couple of months has really reinforced the fact that he can really be the guy to drive this team forward. It's his innate ability to adapt to any situation, adversity, positivity as well, how to channel that positivity into the team. He's just that master people's guy, master master in how to set his team up in a particular moment, especially with regards to injuries and whatnot. The only question,
have to give props to his tactics. Farouk might
100%.
Be hating us for this, but I think the fact that Real Madrid have the best defense in La Liga right now is
it's not a coincidence.
Yeah, it's a testament to Ancelotti and his entire team.
It doesn't happen just with the power of friendship. People just overlook the whole work that goes behind the scenes regarding how the team is set up defensively as well. But the real question is when the knockouts roll around, and the real question is if we can reach another semi-final this season. And I'll be over the moon if we do. And I just pray we don't face City, man, because that's one side we would need to find some new answers for. But I think we have a couple of new problems to pose them a threat. But what they bring to the table are, we bring a couple of AKs and probably an M4 when they come with bazookas. So it's a different proposition. I hope we're ready for it. And I'm pretty sure, even myself included, we'll be piling on Carlo if things don't go exactly well in the Champions League, regardless of where we stood. Me for once, but you might be a bit more rational. But me in the moment, no chance.
I think this in the moment everybody loses their head. I think I've probably called for at least once for Ancelotti to be sacked in every season that has been here. So I think we had the discussion about where we see Real Madrid finishing. I think you weren't there. I think it was with the Portuguese guy when we were doing the Braha preview. I think for me personally, I do think that this team has the ability to reach the semifinals because, with as always, you have to caveat with the fact that the luck of the draw plays a huge role if we are facing City in the quarterfinals.
Oh my God!
Anything about that. So for me, I think this team can reach the semifinals. So, but the only question is what kind of injuries we have and how our players come back from injury. How does Vinicius come back from injury? How does Camavinga come back from injury? And how does Tchouaméni come back from injury? So it all depends on that. But I think this team has the potential to at least reach the semifinal if we get the right kind of a draw.
100%. Couldn't agree more. I just hope we get some rub of the green, especially young squad. Some veterans really struggling to impose themselves. We all know who I'm talking about. It's Modric. I hope he has a brilliant second part of the season, and I think he's going to be super key in terms of deciding where our fortune stands in terms of 23-24 season. And I hope if he's leaving, he leaves on a high with some another catalog of high profile performances deep into the Champions League. That's where the money is. La Liga, yeah, it's all well and good. We won't be scoffing at it, but let's be honest. Regardless of how realistic our chances are, at winning the big years, it is the Champions League what we crave for. Law was in the chat. He was mentioning if Vinny comes back on that form he was on, I think we might actually win the Champions League. The top teams except Bayern this season haven't been impressive. Man, I'll be real.
I think his confidence isn't like unfounded. For me personally, I think the top three teams on form currently at Real Madrid, like in Europe, are Manchester City, Real Madrid, and FC Bayern. So I think if whoever is the Champions League is probably going to be
Arsenal bet Lens 6-0 the other day.
Okay, if you want to feel happy, Arsenal.
I'm not happy. Honestly, I'm not happy because the moment Arsenal,
I think Arsenal and PSG are like in the next group right behind us, and probably Atleti.
PSG, Arsenal are better than PSG. Let's be honest.
I think PSG. First of all, I think the problem with Arsenal for me is like they don't have the experience. So
100%.
That's gonna be a big factor, right? And then the second thing, for me, the reason why you can never discount PSG, at least for me, is the fact that they have quality players, right? They have the quality of Kylian Mbappe. So the thing is, like, there's a reason why Florentino Perez is a big fan of him. So you can never discount when Kylian Mbappe steps up and does that magical thing that you don't really expect from him, and takes PSG to the next level. But right now they're struggling to get out the group, so you don't know what will happen. But you can't discount Atleti as well. Arsenal, Atleti, PSG.
Oh, Atleti.
Yeah. And then there is always the factor of Barcelona, although I don't really expect them to win, but you can never discount the fact that Barcelona have experience and they have good players. Like when we're talking about cruise replacement, the first name that came to my mind was Frankie. So although I hate Frankie De Jong is like incredible. So and he whenever he's playing for Barcelona right now, and the way Xavi has utilized him, you really have to give credit. So Barcelona, probably Barcelona, Arsenal, PSG, and Atleti, probably the next group behind these three.
100%. To Lola's statement, what I was going to argue is the fact that City starts seasons like this on countless occasions, and they go on to do big things in the second half of the season. Where City comes alive is most similar to how we operate. Go on, Mo.
I was just saying that City also has injury issues. Right
Injuries
now.
As well.
Yeah, they're having some trouble bringing people on from the bench and everything. Because I remember the last time somebody was telling me the last game they played, they only had defenders on the bench, so making substitutions was an issue for them. So, but the thing is, towards the second half of the season, players like Kevin De Bruyne they're going to come back. So City is going to be different when he's back.
Simple as. Although I hate the guy, you just can't deny the impact that he has on the citizens, man. Madrid TV is in the chat. Big up Madrid TV every single time. He says excellent performance. Lola was mentioning Arsenal in the UCL is like Atleti. They'll never win it. We all know that, but I'm just saying that you can't really completely write off Arsenal.
You have to give Sinead some happiness,
I'm not exactly happy. Do you see me mentioning Arsenal much? Because I lost.
Come on, you're gonna be happy. Like you like the team when the team you support is doing.
I have a soft spot for Arsenal, but I'm gonna be
this way, right?
Right.
When I go out, somebody asks me which teams do you support. I'm not going to say any team apart from Real Madrid, but there are certain teams that you kind of like to watch. For me, the thing is like I kind of like watching Crystal Palace. I like watching Newcastle United because all these teams are teams that I've done career modes in FIFA with. So you kind of like have this thing for them. So when Newcastle United is doing well, I kind of feel happy. It doesn't mean that I support them or I'm happy for their success. I'm just happy. Okay, these guys are doing well. The fans are nice. So that when I say yeah, Sunil is feeling happy is kind of like in that way. It doesn't mean you're happy. Oh, my team is winning. So
Yeah, like I'll be honest, like I used to root for them, especially since I had a soft spot for them. But as of recent, where they have kind of risen their levels a bit, and have been pitted up against the
become
top dogs.
potential challengers.
Like I've lost that kind of
Totally
rooting
understand.
for the underdog kind of thing. I've lost it. Like that's the
I
reason why I
totally
don't mention
understand.
them in the chat. If you
For me, the
notice
thing
me.
is like
Mm, mm.
for the, me, I went through this thing with City because the first time I kind of like have because I'm not a United fan, right? I kind of hate them because growing up,
We
everybody
all
around me
do.
was United fan. So I'm me, Real Madrid, them United. We were always fighting. So I hated United. The City, got their takeover money before even the UAE when there was a Thailand one. So I've been following them since then. And then when they won the league in 2011, was it? I was pretty happy, last moment ruined United's hopes and all that shit. So,
Mm.
but then once they in Europe, they become credible challengers for me. Cities like a team you hate. I
Yeah.
went through this with PSG as well, so I totally understand what you're saying. Once a team is like kind of coming up, you are happy for them, but once they become challengers, you're like, yeah, they're
Yeah. When they start to come to the same table as us, man,
yeah.
that's just not gonna happen. But
Yeah, right now
yeah,
for me, I'm going through that same thing with Newcastle. A couple of years down the line when they're gonna be big team, yeah, I'm gonna hate them.
yeah. Now everybody, bro, tell me, did United lose? Please tell me they lost. Please tell me, someone in the chat. Let me check this scoreline because I'm hoping they lost. 0-0, 0-0. It's 0-0, 50th minute. So there's still some chance they lose.
Yeah,
Right.
it's still went 0-0. Yeah.
Newcastle is hit with some major injury
A lot
crisis,
of
but
injuries. Yeah, they do.
yeah. Um, but yeah, man. Lala was mentioning quality of Mbappe ends in the round of 16. He's a group stage round of 16 guy. Has 51 goals and assists in the Champions League, but has less knockout numbers than Vini. Ooh, I didn't know that. I'm not sure if it's true, but yeah, that's a big stat, man.
I think for me, PSG going forward is going to depend on one factor: the fact that if is Luis Enrique able to put his own philosophy to the side and adapt to what will work the best with PSG players. Because the way I look at PSG, they have an incredible team if they were to play in transition. They have pace of Mbappe, they have pace of Colomouani, they have pace of Ousmane Dembele. So I think when these guys, when they're coming at you in transition, when they're running at you, any defender in the world is going to be afraid. So with Dembele probably less because he even if he gets past, he's probably gonna miss. So, well, the thing is like we have seen the best of Dembele at Barcelona for the past few years. So you never know when these guys turn on. They are quality players. So that is why you can never discount PSG for me.
Zaire Emery as well. I've been very impressed with
Oh man,
the kid.
that guy is brilliant. That guy is simply
Yeah.
brilliant.
17, 18. It's crazy.
I was
It's crazy.
talking to one of these guys who supports PSG, and they said that when you see Jude at 17, that's what you see in Zaire Emery right now. And he's also 17. So the thing is, when he goes to 20, that guy's gonna be incredible.
I hope he doesn't stay with PSG and waste his years.
He's gonna stay with PSG. He's Parisian. I'm just gonna tell you right now, there's a revolution happening at Paris. A lot of Parisian players they finally realize they have a team to play for. Even Ibrahima Konate, he plays for Liverpool. He was saying that my family growing up was PSG fans all around. So there's a lot of players who have come through there before. They didn't really have this option. Right now with the change in mindset in the ownership as well, because they're kind of like trying to build a team around a Parisian ethos and identity. So going forward, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of Parisian players they kind of stick around and play for PSG.
Well, I hope even if they do, they don't excel. Not particularly the players. I don't want to wish bad upon individuals, but them as a collective, man. Fuck them. Yeah, Jacob was saying he's not happy while smiling like a fool, bro. relax. But I'll be happy, to face Arsenal. Turkish was very, insistent that he's tired of facing Sevilla, and the other La Liga sides. He would like to be pitted up against the Kings. So it'll be a big one. I'm not gonna lie in terms of us as a
For me, a
podcast.
good matchup would be Arsenal against Barcelona in the round of in quarterfinals maybe, because I think these are two managers, the two upcoming Spanish managers, and we'll finally get to find out who's better between Arteta and Xavi.
Arteta is better, simple as hands down.
We'll see.
I think so. You know.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, definitely, we'll see. Because
mm.
both these guys are like students of Pep Guardiola, so we'll see.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Madrid TV was mentioning Lunin scored thanks to the team. My fingers froze today. That's another question that I would have liked to discuss, but since it's a foregone conclusion, like I don't know why Carlo does it. It always irks me that he, gives out these. I don't know why he just, traverses the gray area and leaves it out to, interpret, and maybe takes a decision behind the scenes so as to, maybe it's him being extra super crystal clear, being transparent both in front of the media and in the dressing room as well. But more your take on Lunin versus Kepa, man. One final time next week, on Sunday, it's gonna be Kepa starting. Are you on board with it or no?
See, the thing is, like, this thing goes beyond performances. It's also about confidence, like who has the coaching team's confidence, right? And
Mm.
I think from what I have read, the guy who has the confidence is Kepa, because our goalkeeper coach is the one who like kind of was the one who suggested signing him, and he got behind him, and I think he has worked with him like I think when he was at Athletic. So Kepa is his choice. He has the confidence. There was a reason why they didn't trust Lunin, because they don't really think. Okay, these are rumors that they don't really think that he is able to apply what they work on, the fundamentals that they work on in training. So these are rumors, right? So we should be taking this with a grain of salt, and not really believing them 100%. But this is something that I heard. So probably this is the reason why they have trusted Kepa and stayed with him so far. I think both Kepa and Lunin, like at Real Madrid, their stay is going to end at the end of the season. For Real Madrid, it's probably a question of like who stays on after that. So I think the coaching teams probably wants Kepa to stay on. I've heard that Lunin was a signing of the guy. I think Juni Calafat was the one who signed Lunin. So I think he's the one who's pushing him, but we'll see what happens.
So you're on board, yeah? To just
I mean, I've always mentioned this. For me, Lunin is better in the air than Kepa, and I've been decently satisfied with what Lunin has done. But when the team is saying that they're going to play with Kepa, you really can't do anything.
But you do
if I
feel
was the
for the
manager, I
Kepa,
wouldn't have brought Kepa in. I would have just started Lunin.
right? Right, but as things stand, you feel a bit for Lunin, right? That's the only thing I want to know.
I mean, he's put in brilliant performances, so you feel bad
100%.
he's back. But as Farouk would say, Kepa has probably not done too much wrong to be punished.
Yeah. Jacob was mentioning Kepa has the third highest save percentage in the league. Like, I've been quietly impressed with him as well, but some of his nervy moments, I don't know, man.
I'll just say this thing, right?
Mm.
If you started looking at save percentages, I think Andre Onana is pretty high in the Premier League list. But when you go deeper and kind of like work with the advanced tests, then that's when you can actually understand which goalkeeper is better.
Fair. Right. Yeah. We're gonna slowly wrap this up. We were looking to wrap this up like 30 minutes ago, but big up the people who joined in. Bet back, lol. Marcus Winningham. Marcus Winningham was actually mentioning Fede is a power engine. Most of his performances have gone unnoticed. Yeah, he does the job that goes under the wraps. He basically allows our midfield to thrive, allows Carvajal to thrive. He just does 2-man, 3-man job all at the same time.
I think a lot of
TV was
defensive performances kind of go under the wrap. Like I think we haven't really paid, like we haven't done enough lip service to the likes of Rudiger, because I think Rudiger has been an absolute rock.
It's expected this season, to be honest. It's just
I mean, it is expected, but then still, you have to give credit, because a lot of like, okay, the way this season has been framed is the fact that you would think that this is the Jude Bellingham show, right? But right now, you have to give credit to the fact that our backline has held, because we only have like 3 defenders. Out of them, only one is good in the air, and this guy, and then you come across stats like Real Madrid haven't conceded from a set piece this season. So
That's
that's
mad.
incredible, right? And that's when the quality of the team organization and then the quality of players like Rudiger comes in. And then whenever you're watching Rudiger play, there's a lot of times he has to cover for Carvajal. There's a lot of times when he's one-on-one with the plate, but he's always winning his duels. So you have to give credit to him, and he's been an absolute rock the way I see it.
100%. The very reason why I don't, I've mentioned this before as well. When someone is playing out of his skin, 11 on 10, 12 on 10, like most nights, I just, don't want to jinx him probably. But yeah, man, Rudiger this season has been a staple. His performances, his overall consistency has really changed my opinion of Rudiger as a whole, because I always believe that this man has a loco moment in him. He can lose his head sometimes, but this season, the way he has, held that defense line together, especially with Carvajal having to, be our outlet down the right, he has been superb. No matter what angle you look at it from.
And if you remember when we signed him, we had these doubts about how he would play in a back four. He's been incredible handling the likes of Victor Osimhen. Like, that's the best striker we've come across so far. No shade at Lewandowski, but Osimhen is probably the better striker right now, and he's marshaled him well.
Going back a couple of years, going back to last year, wasn't a couple of years. Last year, during the summer, remember I told you that yes, he won't be the leader that we expect him to be, but he has leadership qualities. So I would like my flowers, right now more. That with the absence of Militao,
the leader as well right now.
Sorry,
he has been the leader as well right now.
Fair. That's it. That's all I wanted, right? So you see, like in the absence of Militao, even when Alaba doesn't play, a cold Nacho coming in, he has really, always barking out orders.
Rudiger is the one who's leading the defense.
That's testament to how much he has come, from his early days at Chelsea and at Roma. Madrid TV was also mentioning Lunin is better than Kepa for me. What do you guys think? I agree, man. For me, it's Lunin. But some people would argue that Kepa hasn't really, put a foot wrong. But I've seen so many instances where the calamity was always around the corner with Kepa. I just have that, gut feeling that,
I agree with you. There's like there have been some moments. There was some. I remember it was a Champions League game, I think, where he let in a goal. He kind of there was a shot at the close range, and he kind of mishandled it and went inside the goal.
It was a La Liga game.
It was a La Liga. Yeah. Okay, sorry. So, and his performance against Atleti, where we were pretty weak.
Was it Celta Vigo, bro? Was it Celta Vigo?
I don't remember exactly.
It was Celta Vigo 1-0. They took the lead. Remember, early on.
I don't remember, man. I'm sorry.
It was Celta Vigo.
So yeah, so I think he has had his moments, but the coaching team for some reason wants to stick by him. So I'm gonna stick by him and say, yeah, Amos Kepa.
Lolo was mentioning Kepa did play better sides, to be fair. That's the other side of the argument as well, which I completely recognize. Kepa did play the bigger matches. Lolo was also.
Didn't Kepa have a hand in the goal we considered against Napoli or something in the first leg? It's okay. We'll go back and see. But yeah.
Was it a header?
I don't remember. It's in my mind that he did something against Napoli, but okay, we'll check again and see.
Well, against Atleti, he was a snowman, for all three of our goals. So let's not forget that. Lolo was mentioning only 9 goals conceded is our best record outside of the 2020 season in the past 15 years. That's really good. That's really good. Who expected that, right? Especially after the Militao injury, we thought, man, it's curtains. It's curtains, especially regarding the backline.
Both of them.
Yeah. Oh, Thibaut as well. See, that's the thing. Credit to Kepa, credit to Lunin. Otherwise we would be sitting here crying out for Thibaut every single post match. We haven't been doing that much.
Yeah.
Really, have we? So there you go. After playing all the top 6 as well, Lol was mentioning. Madrid TV was saying made a mistake for Napoli's first goal away. I don't even remember the goal, but I guess Mo, he shares the same sentiment. But I guess that pretty much brings up our Granada post-match to an end. Pretty uneventful game. That's why we kind of, juggled all the way through, Champions League, potential, our odds at winning the Champions League. This game was done before the whistle was actually blown. Pretty comfortable night. I hope none of our players, especially Danny Carvajal, who looks like he's a doubt for Betis. Is it much serious? And even if he misses Betis, he'll be back. Do we have the Champions League next week? I'm not sure.
It's 2 weeks, I think.
Okay, he's out for 2 weeks. Yeah,
100%. But yeah.
Let's just hope he's fit and firing quickly. Abdullah Madhu, quickly, he's in the chat. He was mentioning against Celta, we went 1 behind because of a Kepa error. Yeah, but it was disallowed by VAR because of a soft fall on Kepa. That was the one, maybe. That was the one. Yeah. So it didn't happen.
We are facing Union 4 days after Betis.
After Betis, yeah. So I was right. So we have a Champions League midweek next week. So I hope Carvalho is back, and we need him. We need him. Vasquez can do a job against Union. I mean, let's be honest, but we need Carvajal's intangibles on the pitch, man, every single time we can. But people, pick up every single one of you in the chat. If you're new here, do subscribe to the channel. If you're recurring watcher, don't forget to smash the like button. Actually helps our algorithm a lot as well. Also show some love on our audio platforms. If you haven't rated us, go give us a rating. It really helps out the cost for our visibility and whatnot. Even the algorithm, it pushes. I've read the more people rate the pod, the more it pushes the pod in terms of visibility as well. Madrid TV, big up guys, big up yourself, Madrid TV, for joining in whenever you can. Big up every single one of you in the chat. Go check out our partners on Instagram, Real Madrid Committee. They run a brilliant Real Madrid fan page. Look out for a preview. Big match away at the Benito Villamarin against Betis. Hopefully Thursday. We might have a guest on. I'm looking at a couple of lads. Hope you guys like our new initiative of bringing on some opposition from fans from La Liga. It's a bit tougher to find than the Premier League, but we have some very good friends looking out for us, especially on Twitter Spaces. I would like to shout out my homie Guti for always sending us suggestions for guests, especially for previews during La Liga sites as well. But yeah, on that note, Mo, any final thoughts?
No, I'd like to thank you for hosting this brilliant podcast. That's all.
It was a brilliant podcast. Let's be honest. It was a boring game. We tried to.
Host, huh? It made it interesting. So.
Okay, fair. Oh my God, I can't say anything. But big up Jacob as well in the background. Until next time, people. Hala Madrid.
Hala Madrid.